G'day, welcome to the channel. If you've found yourself here, you've probably experienced the dreaded Ducati stuck swing arm pivot bolt. This is not a how-to video, this is a how I did video. So firstly, if you'll just come down here, I'll show you the parts that came out of the bike. The bearings in this end were the ones that were most damaged, with the seals here letting all of the water through, which rusted this to the bearings and rusted this part to the swing arm pivot bolt. These are the bearings which I had to cut out with a hacksaw through the side to release the tension so that they'd actually come out of that housing. This is the bolt, the actual pivot bolt, which goes through the bike from that side. Now to get this out, this was seized in completely, with the only way the suspension could move was this bolt twisting in the frame. It was actually seized completely. I started by removing, this is the new assembly here, removing this bolt from this side and trying to get this to spin freely with these there. This one here, of course, which is the one that's connected through there, was completely rusted to the pivot bolt. So we then made up this screw here, which takes the place of that bolt, which screws in there to give us something to actually push the bolt out with. Now eventually, after some heat, by even something as simple as a hairdryer, onto this part of the housing so that you don't damage the paint, was enough sufficient to get us to get that to move even a millimetre at a time. The unfortunate part of all of that is that the more you whack that, the more damage you do to the end there, which is what that screws in. As you can see, it's completely ripped the thread right out of that housing there. Any damage to the end of this bolt here will mean it will no longer slide through these bushes. So this is why the bolt is now cut into several little pieces. So I managed to get the bolt out and then wet and dried and copious quantities of WD-40 or whatever you're using at this, whatever you particularly fancy to use, to try and do that. Then push it back in, try and turn it, loosen it, back out. But this was all very well until I got the bolt out to only so far, and then when it went into this bushing here, it wouldn't go any further because of the damage to the end of the bolt. So get it out, hacksaw it off, push it back in, lube, push it out, cut it off until you get the bolt small enough to fit inside the engine part of the bike here. So that means you can tap what's left of this back into the engine, and then the swing arm is free to actually come out of the bike. According to Ducati, you're meant to drop the engine out to get this to actually come out. I made this simple little jigger which slides in through the frame there. So you remove this bolt, which also was incredibly corroded. Remove that bolt, slide this through there with the washers sus, and you can then turn these nuts and it'll spread the frame for you to be able to pull the swing arm out very simply. And of course, the opposite to put it back in. So before I finish, this is the new assembly here. You will need probably to replace all of this. Very expensive. This bolt is around about $180, that bolt itself. So don't destroy that bolt. So the bushes, the new bushes are there, the new bearings are there. They'll go in the freezer, and I'll leave this in the sun, and then they'll just tap in there very simply. These are the seals that go each side of the, which is the ones There. I hope all that helps, and I wish somebody had have done this, shown this to me beforehand. It would have made a lot of difference to me. So I hope that helps you. Good luck with whatever you may choose. The other thing is that before I finish up, a lot of people put nice pretty little bungs in the end here that makes it look nice and pretty. Basically it creates a hothouse effect for any moisture that might be in there, and it will cause a lot of damage. So if you've got these nice pretty little bungs in the end here, pull them out and whack some anti-moisture fluid in there, something to so you don't have that hothouse effect. So anyway, thanks for watching. See you later.